Three. Hello, I'm April Chadwick.
Good morning, I'm Diane Gertis.
And welcome to TMA Corner. I wore my flannel today because we're one day away from October 1st.
It's supposed to be 90 today, so.
But we're getting there. It's getting cooler at night, so I cannot complain.
Well, when I came over to your house last night, I couldn't believe how crazy Tony was running around your yard. He was a crazy dog. Boy, good Lord. So poor thing.
All the time. So, yep, he's a little hyper one. Yeah. So, but how was your day yesterday? How's your week been?
Oh, it's been great. It's been good.
Good.
I'm enjoying hearing about your ventures up in South, hiking up on the South Mountain and such. That so many great things to do here in Arizona.
There are, and I was at a doctor's appointment earlier today, and that was one of the things talking about. It's just with the weather being nice, so much to do here.
Yeah, so much, but yeah.
So why don't we go over? We've got some fun stuff to talk about this chapter or session, and we're going to go over title. Is that correct?
Yes, and I know you're like, now, don't everyone just turn me off. Go, I don't want to title. That sounds so boring. Well, it's one of those, when you're buying a home, there are three entities. There are, well, I guess four. It's you, the buyer. It is the real estate agent. It is the lender, and it's the title company. And obviously all are equally important and have their parts that make this all come together. But the title company is one of those, everyone says, well, why do you need a title report? Well, all land, homes in the United States, every single parcel is registered down at the county, whichever county you live in, or if you're in Louisiana, there are parishes. So and some of the records have been held since they started keeping records, which is pretty fascinating. And what is a title report? Well, to oversimplify it, I make it sound like so that when you close on your home, that the previous owner's Uncle Bob can't come in and say, oh no, that's my house. And before you actually have ownership in a home, you have a deed that is recorded down at the courthouse. And then that's when you get your keys, and that's when you have ownership of a property. The warranty deed that you sign is when the seller transfers that over to the buyer. And that is what the warranty warrants the buyer from any liens, any contractor liens, any IRS liens, anything that could come up that has to do with title and ownership. That warranty deed protects the buyer. That, in other words, it's the seller's responsibility if anything shows up. And that is on every transaction, every purchase transaction in the United States. You have a warranty deed. There is another deed that you also sign if you're financing a home, that is the lender's. Basically, it's just showing that there is a lien on the property because you are mortgaging the house. And once that house is paid in full, then you will get the full deed to you. But when you have a mortgage, then you have what they call a deed or a deed of trust, and depends on where you live. And that's recorded down at the courthouse. Now, what a lot of people aren't aware of is that the courthouses in the United States have so much information. For instance, a few years ago, had a client that forgot that she owned a piece of property, and this was in Louisiana, and forgot there was a lien that she did not pay. And it showed up on a search that one of our underwriters did. And then sure enough, I called the parish and they were able to provide me the documentation. And then she remembered. Because
That's
what the deed is, the deed also shows ownership. And we as lenders have to have the last 3 years of ownership on the title. What title does is give lenders a title report or a preliminary title report, which shows ownership over the past 3 years. And sometimes they even go back further. It also shows if there are any liens, IRS liens, if there's any encroachments, if there's any encumbrances. So it is a wealth of information, but a lot of realtors, even title companies, overlook reading them when they get them. So they are so important because although it's rare, but when they do happen, for instance, there's a place in Tempe called the Lakes.
Mhm.
And years ago, a client, so excited, they had 4 kids moving into their dream home, but a lien showed up under this kind of a weird, like, bow wow company that showed as an IRS lien. Well, it turned out that the seller said, it's not mine. Well, it was his. And he was told if he put it in a trust or put it in a different LLC, that therefore people who were filing the lien could not come after him.
Oh,
That is incorrect. Also, if you have an IRS lien as an individual and you have your house in a trust, that's not going to protect you. I don't know where people get this. Well, I do know, but
yeah, I know.
I know that, but that is not the right corrected information. So that is also, we've had issues with, for instance, if there are encroachments on the property, such as someone has a driveway that you share. At that point, you've got to get a shared driveway agreement. So there are a lot of different, there are a lot of different things that can unexpectedly come up in a title report. I'm going to give you my favorite one. And keep in mind,
I love stories.
all lending, if you're getting a mortgage, you have to get a title report. You have to. And so the title report, if something comes up where there's a lien, let's kind of go back to that. A lot of times there may be maybe there's a contractor's lien. Somebody didn't pay their subcontractors. They'll file what they call a mechanic's lien on the property. That is why a lot of new home builders use their title companies, although you're supposed to be able to change and go to where you want. But if their title company is already giving them a waiver, in other words, they are backing that builder and stating that they are indemnifying them, and that if anything comes up, the title company will handle it. So it protects the buyer. But the title company, the liens also, a lot of times there'll be liens put, for instance, if you have an average, or I shouldn't say average, a common name like Jones or Smith or Gonzalez, Hernandez, Johnson, a lot of times they can be put on a title report incorrectly. Therefore, the title company will ask for social security numbers and date of birth to make sure, and then they can make sure that is not on the title report or on the final title report for sure. So they have to do all title companies have their own investigators, they have their own underwriters to look and make sure that there's nothing that's going to prevent you from buying that house without having a clean title. Years ago, there was a couple who bought a home in Globe, and the husbands were so excited about the house because they were going to buy it, and it was on a little bit of acreage and going to remodel it. We got the title report, and the mineral rights usually are transferred over within the deed. Sometimes some mineral rights are, I'm not going to get into that because we live in suburbia. And most of the homes are done in just where the mineral rights are not even an issue. But on this one, it stated that this guy by the name of, and I'm going to get his name wrong, but his name was like, I don't know, Fred. I'll just use a name. Let's say his name was Fred.
Okay.
And Fred owned the mineral rights, and it was given to him. This is how far back those records go. The mineral rights were
Well,
given to him.
we can name him Fred Flintstone because he did work in a mine.
He did. He
Fred
did.
Flintstone.
That's
So
why
you're-
I'm calling him Fred. But he had the mineral rights were transferred to him from Teddy Roosevelt in 1909. So we were like scrambling. They go, well, those mineral rights have never, Fred still owns the mineral rights. So we can't finance the home unless we can find out. Well, we did, and of all people, Eric's wife, Jenny, found a website about, deadpeople.com, or here's where deadpeople.com are buried. And she found him. I cannot believe it. She found him, and he actually got into a fight and had some sort of pick in his head, or a
Pickaxe.
axe in his head. And they left it there. Then one day in the 1920s, decided to take it out, and it killed him.
Jesus.
So therefore, what's the moral of that story? You have a pickaxe in your head, just keep it. Who cares?
Don't worry about airport security. You'll be fine.
Yeah. So we had gotten all this documentation, and then we took it up through the chain of command at the powers to be. They really enjoyed the whole history lesson and the story. And they went ahead and let him buy the house, because they said, it's doubtful that if his sons or daughters or any of his relatives were going to step forward, they should have already done so by now. So they made an exception. But this is the kind of stuff that happens. I have one now, Sean, I'll be calling you in a little bit, that I'm going to have to start searching the title reports to see about when a manufactured home, how old the manufactured home is. On the MLS, the multiple listing service used in Arizona, shows it's 1981. And this is in a nice area of Sun Lakes where they have a lot of really beautiful manufactured homes mixed with single family. But the appraiser is saying it was built in 1974. So all that's recorded on county records. So I will do my research as soon as we get off the phone. But it's really interesting. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just think, and it's also you taking the time. I mean, it's one of those things, like I always go into having a lender that you have the right lender, but also like most people have been like, I don't know what to do with this, and kind of let it go. And for you, it's like you learn something new every day, but you've really found these caveats of weird experiences with title. And I just love hearing these stories.
Well, and there's more, but I won't bore you with them, because the most main ones you're going to find are the liens, that people maybe have a lien and they forgot about it. Or I had another client, which I really feel sad about, that he has turned his life around. He was in jail for quite a while, but has turned his life around. It's a great job, bought a house. First time it didn't show up, but when he bought the house, they did not do a deed search on him. But now when we went to refinance it, the deed search shows a lien from Maricopa County he has to pay restitution. And it's for like $60,000. Very sad. He has a modest house, very nice guy, but he said that happened when he was in his early 20s. I don't know what to tell you. When it's on the lien there, then it's up to him to try to get that worked out so he can get it off the title report. So these are the things that happen.
Well, and the meetings I've been going to, at least the past week and a half, 2 weeks, it's amazing how much titles come up. People are, it's, hey, you guys, be sure to read the title report, which I don't even know how many agents do read their title reports. And I feel that this is a great opportunity for us to let agents or clients know, hey, especially I guess more agents, but if you don't know how to read a title report, call your favorite title rep. That's what they're there for. Call your title reps, have them sit down, have them go over a title report with you, or call Diane, call your lender or call Diane. But, I think so many, they get through school and they go through the transactions. And especially if some agents have a transaction transaction coordinator, they don't ever even see a preliminary title report. And so
Yeah.
it's really important for them to at least know what that is, what it looks like, because I mean, it's not like you count on one hand how many transactions can be canceled or have issues because of a prelim or a title. There's a lot of issues you can have with title. So I think it's really great that we went over this, but also for people to know what they are, know how to read them.
Well, and especially with, and I'm going to bring up another kind of on a sidebar for all those that are out there remodeling your house, pay your subcontractors. If you
Oh,
get
wow.
in a dispute, resolve it, because those contractors could file a mechanics lien against the property. And if you go to sell the house, you will have to pay it. So just a side note on that.
And that's a great point too, for people to know rates are low. If you have a lien on your property, let's do a quiz game. Hey, Diane, if we have a lien on my property, can I refinance my home?
No.
Hey, Diane, I have a $200,000 lien on my property. Can I sell my home?
Well, as long as you make enough money to pay off that, because that lien's going to have to be paid off first.
Yeah. So good to know those things, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone just be careful with what can happen, because isn't it great that now you own property? You own it, but that's also that can also be used as leverage with other people who be careful on who you. First, if you go out and buy solar panels, do you know that's going to come on your deed? Yeah, because you've got it's part of the house. So just make sure that you're aware of, and that could be a good thing. But just make sure you're aware of these little caveats. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you read your covenants, the CC&Rs, the covenants and restrictions on the house. Those are also noted as having, go ahead, April, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I'm just letting you know, be sure you read, if you have CC&Rs, be sure you read them and also know what that means to you.
Right. And that's a great point, because there are things in the CC&Rs, whether how many dogs you can have, if you can build a swing set, certain things like that, that will definitely impact, your decision to buy. No, and then I just was going to make a comment too, just kind of back for everybody want to know about solar panels, just a quick thing. It only seems to be real estate agents' kids that do this. More than one. So, but just, yes, say you buy a home and then you go get solar panels on it. Well, that goes on your title, and so does that debt. And once again, that makes it really hard to refinance if you've got that. So
just be careful with it. I'm not saying it's everywhere. Everything is a little different.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. But there are on title reports, it's very important that you're aware of what can become a lien against your property, and be careful. And also, if you add people to the property, make sure if you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend, you say, oh, I want her to have equal. Well, if you break up with them, make sure you get them off the property. It's a lot easier to put them on than it is to get them off. So that's
a whole nother episode.
That's a whole different story. Oh, I got stories on that. So just be careful of that, because oh my God, how exciting, you own your own house. But just to be careful on how and how that, and all the covenant restrictions, make sure you're fully aware of what those covenant restrictions, if you're in an HOA, what that means. And I'm going to sidebar it again. If you are in a little bit of a rural area and you have a private road, you're going to need a private road agreement. Lenders are going to ask for that, because if the appraiser says he's on a private road and you and your neighbors just have decided that you're going to take care of it yourselves, make sure you have an agreement that's recorded along with the deed, or that you recorded at some point. That sometimes trips people up, and we end up having to get that scrambled if there's no private road agreement. Okay, so I think I'm rambling now, so I'm sorry. Thinking of all the things that could happen.
That's perfect. And that's what these are for. So a lot of good information that you shared today, because I think that's a lot of things that people have questions about or hear in passing, but don't really understand what that means. And I just appreciate you, because that's so much information. And if anyone has any questions whatsoever on title, on anything lending, go to the best, Diane, and her phone number is 480-235-5667. And I'm April, and you can reach me at 602-740-5319. And we're on Instagram at TMA Corner. And anything else you want to add before we go into lovely October?
Next week is going to be on, ready?
Uh-oh.
Home inspections and why you should have one.
Woohoo! Everybody should have one.
Yeah,
For
I'm
sure.
going to go over that because we've had several interesting things that have come up, even on new homes.
Oh, wow.
Stay
That's
tuned.
exciting. All right. Oh, well, Tony
Good
said
Tony.
it's time to go.
All right,
So
there's your timer. Everyone have a great end of great week and we look forward to seeing you soon.
absolutely. And welcome to fall. Woohoo!
Take care.
Have a great
Bye.
one.